Hi, I'm Georgia. Thanks for joining me again. Quite excited to show you this one because I'm using some acrylic inks, not acrylic paint, acrylic inks, which I've never used before. And I had I was pleased with the result, but I thought they might work a bit better than they did. But anyhow, we'll get to that. So once again, I'm using Fimo, which I use quite a lot. And I think this is red glitter that I've used. So I'm tidying up all the edges. I've rolled that out on 0 on my Atlas 150, and I also textured the back of it by running through a little, I think they're filters, running that through on my pasta machine. So these acrylic inks that I'm using, I've got from Hobbycraft, which is in the UK, and the make is Rowney. That blue is called Rowney Blue or Rowney Blue. As you can see, it's got a little dropper and it's very, very intense. I'm using the nail dauber again, and can you see what's happening to the clay? It's almost splitting. Now, I've not had that happen before. It's almost like there's an oil on the top of the clay and it's not working so well with it. Now, when I saw this, I thought, oh, this is never going to work. This is going to be dreadful. But, you know, well, like all of us, I thought, well, I'll carry on going and see what we end with up at the end. Because the fun is in the experimenting, and any mistake you make is always something that you learn from. So I carried on, but you can see there, it's the odd one stays quite intense, but the others are just splitting, they're separating. I deliberately started with the darkest colour so that I could build up to the lightest colour. So there I am putting more of a layer down, but it's quite dark. And it's very wet. And I was also thinking, you can see there, I was also thinking, oh, I'm using Fimo again. It's not going to like this. And on cue, there's my dog Tia drinking her water. I don't know who she thinks I'm talking to when I'm recording this. Okay, that red is called Karniesin. And it goes quite well. It covers quite well over that very dark blue. Adding a little bit more there. The colours are very impressive when you do see them. And the consistency, as you can see, it's not very runny, but I wouldn't say it's thick. But it works okay. That colour there is called Sun Orange. Actually, no, I don't think that is called Sun Orange. It's actually called Hot Mama Red. Now, that doesn't look like a Hot Mama Red to me. It's a pearlescent look to it, and it's a very rosy red. And I've forgotten about it because, as you can see, it doesn't really make that much difference to what I've put on there already. I found I was getting contamination between the different colours, so you can see that I sort of, as I went along, the technique I got was that I dab in the paint and then I wipe off on the kitchen towel. Sometimes I just dab straight off on the kitchen towel and I miss the clay completely. So I do put a little bit more on, but there's not very much difference. Now, I suppose what I could have done as well, watching this back, I could have, in between each lot of paint that I put on, Oh, there we go. And here's the dog back again. That's the Pearlescent Sun Orange now. As I was saying, I could have let each coat or each layer dry, and maybe that might have created a very different effect, but you wouldn't have had the bleeding into each other that you've got. Now, I loved this Sun Orange. I thought that looked very nice on there. And it blends everything together. Now, when you see the earrings at the end, they almost look stormy. The marbling effect has come across really well. And just put wherever you want to put it. But that really is very pretty. That I think I will be using quite a bit of that Sun Orange in other things that I do. Now, can you see how it's all merging together there? I think without that Sun Orange, the effect wouldn't have been as good, but it's very different to alcohol inks. I think it's a little bit more controllable. I should try blowing on it. Okay, so I've speeded it up a bit now, but you can see what I'm doing. Just piling it on. And once again, the Fimo did cope. Look how that's coming together now. Very dark, very intense pigments. So fill the whole piece of clay that you have, and then I think that it didn't take as long to dry as you would think it would. Just add your little finishing touches there. And you can see how wet it is on the surface as I'm moving. That's what it looks like dry. And I'm cutting out my shapes now. I think I got these cutters from Be Bright and Blissful in the UK, and they have an Etsy store which is run by the very lovely Bee. I think these were probably one of the first lots of cutters that I've ever had. Sorry for the camera shake, it's attached to the table, and obviously whenever I push down and things and that, it moves the camera, and there's a bit of camera shake. So once again, using as much of the clay as I can. And there I've just pushed out the little bit with a brush rather than using my fingers or something else. Somebody suggested that I use a brush, and it was a brilliant suggestion. So thank you, whoever it was who suggested that. Now these unfortunately don't make it, which is a shame because they're nice cutters. There, you see, they've broken. That's probably because there's quite a lot of paint on there, or ink, acrylic ink, and it's softened it a little bit too much. I'm trying to use as much of the clay as I can there. This is one I'm not so sure how would work as scraps. Although we use everything for scraps, don't we? There's always something for somewhere. And that's what I'm left with. Obviously tidying them up as much as I can again. I should cut this bit out because we all know what we're doing at the end. So now you will be seeing what they turned out like. So stormy. I just love the look on them. if you've liked this, I'd appreciate it if you'd like and subscribe. And I'll see you again in the next one. Thanks for joining me.